This bulletin proudly brought to you in association with Alex Campbell's Menswear.
Tonight on the South Today, US citizens living in Dunedin are being encouraged to vote in the upcoming American elections. A Dunedin woman who was hit by a falling tree branch speaks about her recovery. And still reeling from a massive loss, the Highlanders are looking ahead to their next match. Kia ora, good evening, I'm Sophie Morris. Americans living in Dunedin are being invited to register to vote in the upcoming US elections. The Otago Postgraduate Association is running a non-partisan drive to get expat American citizens to take part.
Despite being thousands of miles from home, American expats in Dunedin are preparing to take part in their homeland's election. Primary elections have begun in the US, with candidates being chosen mostly by party faithful in a series of primary contests. Otago University postgrad student Jade De La Paz is rallying her country folk to vote.
As a way to get people to come out and get their absentee ballots organized, because sometimes it's pretty easy, but it's also like one more thing on your to-do list. So it's like, okay, I've got a 2-hour block in the middle of the day for my lunch break. I'm going to go do it now because I procrastinate, everybody procrastinates, and it's so easy to be disconnected when you're this far away from home.
The primary voting system differs from state to state, with many of them having different rules governing who or who can't vote.
So a closed primary would be you cannot vote in a primary election, which is specific to a political party. So let's say there's a Democratic primary going on. If you're not registered as a Democrat, you cannot vote in that primary. So that's a closed election.
De La Paz says part of running today's event is to help local Americans connect back home.
And so this was a way of getting people sort of engaged and like a safe space for Americans to come together and say, okay, I don't know how to do this, or I do know how to do this, let's help each other out.
She set up this inaugural event to inform fellow Americans of how they can cast their votes from an island in the South Pacific. Another event may be held in early March to coincide with Super Tuesday, when the greatest number of states hold their primaries. In Dunedin, the South Today.
Firefighters spent several hours fighting a large blaze in rural North Otago yesterday. Volunteer fire crews from Kakanui were called to the fire on Happy Valley Road just before midday and were joined a short time later by crews from the Waitaki Rural Volunteer Fire Force. The blaze of just over 20 hectares started when a controlled stubble burn-off was fanned by strong wind gusts, sending flames leaping several metres into the air. 2 helicopters with monsoon buckets were also called in to fight the fire, which was brought under control shortly before 4 p.m. A woman struck by a falling tree branch in Dunedin during a stormy day in January is on the slow road to recovery. Amy Armstrong is using the power of poetry to help in her recovery from the fractured vertebrae she suffered in the incident.
The winds were blowing, the tree was coming down, there was no sound, until the screaming that was streaming from my very mouth.
Amy Armstrong reads her poem about being struck by a falling branch in January during a day of wild weather which downed many trees around Dunedin.
As soon as I arrived on the Museum Reserve corner, I heard a crack. I looked up, and the last thing I remember is a branch from the top of the tree coming towards me.
Members of the public, including an experienced nurse, were quickly at hand, and after an ambulance trip and 5 hours in hospital, Armstrong learned she had fractured her L1 and L2 vertebrae. She says the freak accident of being hit by a branch was the last thing she was expecting.
I never thought, I do now, but I never thought once to look where I was walking because it was so windy. I hadn't noticed other branches down or anything. People have told me stories since about trees on cars and stuff, but I hadn't really noticed any of that.
Armstrong says writing a poem about her feelings of the incident has proved to be therapeutic.
Because there was a bit of trauma, like, because I remembered the image of the tree coming and the sensation afterwards that was really scary. It was sort of good just to write it down and name it and to get it out. And it was sort of it's kind of lighthearted the way I did it. I didn't want it to be, I think the trauma comes through, but yeah, it felt really freeing, almost fun to get it down. And I thought, well, at least something fun can come out of this.
She says her recovery from her back injury has been like a full-time job, but her pain is being managed and she's receiving physiotherapy. In Dunedin, the South Today.
One person has moderate injuries after a two-car crash in central Dunedin yesterday afternoon. A witness says the cars crashed at the intersection of Smith and Tennyson Streets. 2 fire appliances and a police car were at the scene. The occupants of both vehicles, both of which were families, were visibly distressed. St John's say one person was transported to Dunedin Hospital with moderate injuries. Smarting from their 42-20 loss against the Sharks last Friday, the Pulse Energy Highlanders are looking to learn from their mistakes. That's according to assistant coach Mark Hammett, whose team is set to face off against the Brumbies in Australia on Saturday.
Highlanders assistant coach Mark Hammett says his rugby team has bounced back from their game against the Sharks last week, and he says there's been plenty to learn from their 42-20 loss.
Out of necessity with a lot of new young guys coming in, but a lot of those players, you don't know what you don't know, so you've got to learn, and some of the older guys like your Coltmans and Nagy and those guys are really great leaders around that, so they're assisting with that.
The Highlanders, seen here practising on Tuesday in Dunedin, were set to leave for Canberra today and take on the Brumbies on Saturday evening. The team includes Dylan Hunt in the position of blindside flanker. Hunt first made the Highlanders in 2017 as an open-side flanker. He's been in and out of the team over the past 2 seasons and says he's enjoying his new role.
Reasonably similar to Seven, but there is a couple of different things that I like, being in the middle of the field, a bit more contact, a bit more physicality. I really enjoy that.
Hunt is now studying zoology, but came to Dunedin originally as a surveying student. 7 years on, he admits he's the only one left.
Yeah, pretty much. I don't think there's anyone, any friends, who were down here when I first came down who are still around. So shows the nature of uni. You come and you go after 3 years, and that's sort of how it happens. Obviously, it happened a bit different for me, but I'm still enjoying my time down here, and obviously got a good bunch of guys around me.
The game against the Brumbies is set to kick off at 9:15 p.m. Saturday, New Zealand time. In Dunedin, the South Today.
Still to come on the South Today. We hear about potential rates rises in Otago, and we hear from Professor Robert Patman about coronavirus's potential to change the course of history.
Every season, we're proud to dress the region. Alex Campbell Menswear, it fits.
When it's time to say goodbye to your pet, Heaven Sent Pet Cremations are here to help you through this difficult experience. Call Heaven Sent Pet Cremations today for their care and guidance. Phone 489-2274. Lana Castle is proud to showcase their new retail space. Simply purchase an annual garden pass for year-round access to the garden, cafe and gift shop, Or apply for a host card giving you full access to the castle, ballroom, cafe, gift shop and garden when accompanied by a full paying guest. Check out the website for full terms and conditions.
Garrador Dunedin, delivering quality stylish garage doors in Dunedin for over 17 years. New doors, replacement doors and maintenance are all part of Garrador's quality service. Garrador Dunedin offers a full range of modern quality doors to suit any home. Come visit the team.
A poorly maintained heat pump can lose up to 35% of its output. The Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner team are experts. Their specially developed chemical wash is totally biodegradable. Call Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner and get the job done by the professionals.
If you're at risk of developing melanoma skin cancer, you owe it to yourself to have a mole map. Mole map is coming to your area. Phone today to make an appointment. It could save your life.
If you're suffering from sciatica, lower back pain, hips and pelvis and knees, this technique will work wonders for you. The energy flow is transmitting through the muscles. Come and see Sunny Chin.
You've seen us in the street, now find us online. Check out shopon.org.nz. We have all sorts of treasures, from retro and vintage clothing to antiques, homewares and accessories. New items added every week. We're open 24/7.
Step into Ross Cafe, located at Ross Home in North East Valley. We have a great range of hot and cold food, friendly service and a warm atmosphere that you are sure to enjoy. We look forward to serving you soon at Ross Cafe.
Welcome back. Some Alexandra residents may receive a shock in their mail with the possible rates rise of 13%. The rates increases were presented to the Vincent Community Board yesterday as part of a discussion of the budget for the draft annual plan. The figures are representative of large gains in the capital value of residential property and also demonstrate a widening gap between town and country. Some residents in Alexandra, Clyde and Omakau have their annual rates bill rise by over $300. On the other hand, rural properties could have their rates slashed by up to a third because land values for farms in the area have not increased since 2016. In today's Global Insight, Professor Robert Patman says coronavirus is being likened to Pearl Harbor and Chernobyl for its potential to change the course of history. The Dunedin-based international affairs expert says the new virus could heighten tensions already within China.
The Wuhan coronavirus, now being known as COVID-19, has killed more than 1,100 people worldwide, all but 2 of them in mainland China. Some estimates put the number of infected people who have caught this pneumonia-like disease at more than 300,000 worldwide. Welcome, Robert.
Good morning, Bruce.
This virus has very obvious and serious health concerns.
Yeah.
It also has a political dimension. How is the politics of coronavirus playing out in China?
At the moment, this is a very big challenge for the Chinese leadership. It comes at a time when the legitimacy of the Chinese leadership has been facing some challenges in Hong Kong with the democracy protests, and also ramped up international attention with the treatment of the Uyghurs, Muslim minority, within China by the authorities there. And there's signs that the Chinese leadership are very sensitive about this. So this challenge that's now presented itself, which developed towards the end of last year, I think is potentially a tricky political problem. It was striking that Xi Jinping initially declared it was taking personal charge of the coronavirus crisis, but then he delegated that to the Vice Premier, which suggests that he anticipates that this could be a very difficult challenge and he doesn't want to become too personally identified with it, just in case it turns out to be a potential disaster. Again, this is a little bit of speculation, but there do seem to be reasonably reliable reports coming out of China of considerable anger about the slowness in the authorities getting to grips with this problem. And something like 2 to 3 weeks is the period in which critics have said, within China and outside it, the Chinese authorities were a bit slow off the mark. So I think it's a formidable challenge in its own right, but it's come at a difficult time for the Chinese leadership, who are facing a number of problems. And it does have other implications too.
It was not something they could have anticipated. That's hard to manage, really, isn't it? How do you think it could play out for them?
Well, analysts sometimes describe unanticipated events as black swan events, and they can make or unmake governments. So there's numerous examples of this. For example, the Pearl Harbor attack was an event which apparently came out of the blue for the United States and led to the United States entering the Second World War. We then saw a nuclear reactor accident in the former Soviet Union in 1986, which certainly increased the divisions within the Soviet leadership and radicalized Mr. Gorbachev into taking a position that the Soviet Union must reduce the cost of Cold War competition with the United States. And now we have this coronavirus event, which does have the potential to further test the legitimacy of the communist leadership led by Xi Jinping. It could be that Xi Jinping's leadership rallies and it boosts the regime. But I think it also has the potential to cause political problems for the Chinese government.
Thank you, Robert.
Thank you.
And thank you for watching. Catch us next time on Global Insight. Gesundheit.
And you can view the full interview with Professor Patman online at odt.co.nz. After the break on the South Today, Palmerston motocross champion Courtney Duncan is set to defend her world title, and we check out tomorrow's weather.
Lana Castle is proud to showcase their new retail space. Simply purchase an annual garden pass for year-round access to the garden, cafe and gift shop, or apply for a host card giving you full access to the castle, ballroom, cafe, gift shop and garden when accompanied by a full paying guest. Check out the website for full terms and conditions.
Step into Shop on Carroll and discover a shop full of treasures. We have a fantastic range of vintage and retro clothes, upmarket clothing labels, collectible items, beautiful jewellery, quality linen and the best range of vintage haberdashery.
Every reason, every season, we're proud to dress the region. Alex Campbell Menswear, it fits.
A poorly maintained heat pump can lose up to 35% of its output. The Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner team are experts. Their specially developed chemical wash is totally biodegradable. Call Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner and get the job done by the professionals.
Garrador Dunedin, delivering quality, stylish garage doors in Dunedin for over 17 years. New doors, replacement doors and maintenance are all part of Garrador's quality service. Garrador Dunedin offers a full range of modern quality doors to suit any home. Come visit the team.
Step into Op Shop on St Andrew and discover a place with plenty of bargains for yourself, your friends and the whole family. We have new items arriving every day. Visit us for a fabulous range of economy and upmarket clothing, accessories, books, shoes and more. Shop with us and support your community.
When it's time to say goodbye to your pet, Heaven Sent Pet Cremations are here to help you through this difficult experience. Call Heaven Sent Pet Cremations today for their care and guidance. Phone 489 2274. If you're at risk of developing melanoma skin cancer, you owe it to yourself to have a mole map. Mole map is coming to your area. Phone today to make an appointment. It could save your life.
Welcome back. Palmerston motocross champion Courtney Duncan has ignited her world title defence in dramatic fashion. Yesterday, the 24-year-old uploaded online a short film entitled Girl on Fire. Duncan is set to defend the Women's Motocross World Championship, which she won in England last year. After having been dogged by disasters in earlier years, she came home to a hero's welcome last September. She says the film represents her journey through all the setbacks, injuries and failures she's had. Duncan says the production of the short film has been the biggest of her career and an experience she will never forget. And now recapping tonight's top stories on the South Today. US citizens living in Dunedin are being encouraged to vote in the upcoming American elections as the primary elections begin. A Dunedin woman who was hit by a falling tree branch speaks about her recovery and is thankful for her laptop. And still reeling from a massive loss, the Highlanders are looking ahead to their next match with a hard-hitting addition to the team. And time now for a look at what's happening in tomorrow's ODT. Welcome, Craig.
Good evening. We're out chasing the Prime Minister as we speak. She's down at the Waimumu Field Days, popping down there to catch up with a few people in the wake of the flooding, I guess. She's also visiting Invercargill today. As I say, talking to people who have been involved in the flooding, but also a lot of those first responders who are out there helping with the emergency. We'll be talking to her about, I guess, what more the government can do and, to see what sort of support they can offer in the future. Coronavirus, we're having another look at that and the likely impact on schools in our regions. Many rely on these international students as a sort of another stream of income for our schools. One principal's telling us it's got the potential to cost local schools hundreds of thousands of dollars. In their own case, they pay up to $13,000 in fees, some of these students, and some have had to cancel because they're not allowed to leave China at the moment. So, there's already been more cancellations, and I guess that until they get on top of the virus, there could be more. So, a worrying time for a lot of these schools.
Right.
We've got the Halborg Sports Awards in Auckland tonight as well, and I guess our strong ski team from Queenstown, Wanaka Way, they feature in many categories, as does Courtney Duncan as well in the Sportswoman of the Year section. We'll have updated coverage throughout the night on our website and a full report on that. Not good news for our women's cricketers today, especially local heroes Susie Bates and Katie Martin wanting to play their first international in Dunedin. Got rained out, they're pretty disappointed. We've had to catch up with them. But on a more positive note, Otago's men's side's playing Canterbury in the semi-final with a one-day competition in Christchurch now, and looking pretty good, dare I say, with 15 overs to go. Don't want to tempt fate, but if they win that, they're off to the final in Auckland at the weekend, so we wish them well.
Great, well thank you, Craig. All of that and more in tomorrow's ODT. And time now for a look at tomorrow's weather.
Tonight's weather proudly brought to you by Mole Map.
Starting with the southern view, a feather boa left behind following this week's Queen concert. Looking at the situation, Former tropical cyclone USC moves rapidly across the Tasman Sea tomorrow and lies off the Fiordland coast on Sunday. It's set to bring rain and strong winds to western areas. The ex-tropical depression will weaken and stall near the far south for a few days, causing unsettled weather continuing early next week. Starting off at the northwest of the South Island, Greymouth and Westport are looking at cloudy skies with 22 degrees. Across to the northeast, Nelson and Blenheim can expect some clouds and 24 degrees. In Canterbury, Kaikoura has clouds and showers with 17 degrees. Christchurch is also due for showers and 16 degrees, while Ashburton is set for clouds and 17 degrees. To the southern towns, the Catlins, Balclutha, Lumsden and Gore are all set for light to moderate southeasterlies and some high clouds. The Catlins can expect 16 degrees, Balclutha 18, Lumsden 19 and Gore 20. Heading to central Otago, all towns are set for light northerlies and some high clouds. Wanaka 24 degrees, Queenstown 22, Alexandra 23 and Tiano 20. To the northern towns, on the coast, Timaru and Oamaru are due to have moderate northeasterlies and cloudy skies. 16 for Timaru and 15 for Oamaru. Looking inland, Twizel and Omarama are due for light northerlies with some high clouds. Twizel 23 and Omarama 24 degrees. In Dunedin, cloudy and cold tonight with southerly winds dying out and an overnight low of 10. Still cloudy and cold tomorrow with moderate northeasterlies developing, a high of 13 and a low of 10. Milder on Saturday with sunny periods with high cloud and northeasterly winds becoming strong and gusty, a high of 18 degrees and a low of 15. And in Invercargill, cloudy tonight with an overnight low of 9. Becoming fine and sunny tomorrow with light winds. Expect cool temperatures, a high of 17 and a low of 9. Cloud increasing on Saturday with northeasterly winds becoming strong. Some rain developing at night, a high of 18 and a low of 15. That's all for our news this Thursday. For the latest news from the southern region, head online to odt.co.nz and follow Channel 39 on Facebook and YouTube. Thanks for joining us. Have a great evening. Ka kite anō.
This bulletin proudly brought to you in association with Alex Campbell's Menswear.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.